Hey
Hi,
everyone,
everybody.
welcome. This is our Microsoft 365 Pulse where we go over the roadmap so you don't have to try to dig it all out yourself. Today we have the Tam Tom Show, which is Tamara Bredemus and Tom Duff. And yes, we are married. So, what we do, if you have not watched this show before, is we go over the roadmap and there's four different categories. One is, excuse me, in development. That means Microsoft is working on it and they have an estimated date as to when they think it will appear. Then we usually go into rolling out, which means that the actual change on the roadmap is rolling out to the various clients to which it should be intended to hit at some point. Once we see it in launched, that means every tenant that it was targeted for should have that information now if you're up to date with your updates. And then the final one is usually canceled. Sometimes we have them, sometimes we don't. I think we have a couple this time, but if they're there when we get to them, we'll cover them. So with that, we will go ahead and get started with in development. And Tamara, would you like to lead us off?
I would. Thanks for asking.
You bet.
So, Microsoft 365 app, Microsoft Loop, specifically Loop workspaces, are going to become available for GCC. So, Loop workspaces and the full Loop app experience will be available in Microsoft 365 GCC at loop.cloud.microsoft. And that's coming out by the end of March. And then new for hashtag Outlook for new Windows. Import emails from PST files to Mailbox in new Outlook for Windows. So, with this update of support, the PST files, also known as data or Outlook data file, in the new Outlook for Windows, users will be able to import emails from PST files to Mailbox. Future releases of new Outlook will expand the support for PST file capabilities, and you can find more information at hashtag new Outlook for Windows or hashtag PST file support, which I misread and thought it said life support.
Well, it has been on life support, so yes, this is a good thing.
It's true. And then Windows 365 Link, the customization of the login screen. IT can set custom wallpaper and company logo in the name of the Windows 365 Link login screen. That's coming in April. Delete meeting generated content in recap. This is going to be important for those of you who are doing meetings on sensitive topics that maybe you don't want to keep a record of, but you need the transcript to do some analysis through Copilot. Meeting organizers can now easily delete meeting generated content, including recording, transcript, AI summary, and notes through the new delete button in the recap page. Shared files in the meeting will not, however, be deleted. And this is coming out for worldwide and GCC. And then minimize meeting window enhancements. So Microsoft is improving the experience when the active meeting window is minimized. Users can now rate or will be able to raise their hand and send reactions without restoring the full meeting window. They can also choose between two minimized sizes, an expanded view, which shows up to four participant videos, or a compact view that does not display any other participants' videos. This is coming out in April to the worldwide tenant. Just two more for me, and then I'll hand it over to Tom. OneDrive improved max path error experience on desktop. So, OneDrive desktop sync users will get a clearer, more actionable error message when file paths exceed the supported 520 character limit. That is the first time I've seen this 520 character limit, by the
Same
way.
here. Yeah, I was a little surprised when I saw that number.
Yeah, they were saying right around 400, and then the file path has to be less than 250. Uh, so that's an interesting number. The updated experience will show exactly how many characters a path exceeds the limit and point users to the specific folder location where they can shorten names and resolve issues. For the love of God, stop describing your folders as if it were a novel.
Oh,
And stop naming your document with every word you can think of. Use metadata, for goodness sakes. When multiple files in the same folder are affected, a single consolidated message guides users to the right location, reducing error noise and making resolution faster. This will be available on both Windows and Mac, but it's not coming out until May. I say the sooner the better for that one.
yeah, I like the idea that they're going out and saying, hey, you're over the limit by X number of characters. Here's the folder
Right.
you probably want to cut down the size of instead of just going, yep, you're screwed.
Wah, wah, wah.
Sad trombone.
Exactly. The last one I'm going to take in development is Microsoft Teams identifying bots joining your Teams meeting.
Yes, that one's cool.
I just did a presentation for the Minnesota M365 user group, and people are using agents to transcribe the meeting so that they can do analysis on the meeting afterwards. And so it was just one bot after another, really skewing the numbers of attendance. So it would be nice if they could count them differently, but that's not what this is about. So during Teams meetings, if there is an external 3P bot trying to join the meeting, organizers will be able to see a clear representation of the bots while they wait in the lobby. Organizers will be required to explicitly and separately admit these bots into the meeting if really required. This approach ensures that no one inadvertently accepts the external bots into the meeting, ensuring that organizers have full control over the presence of these bots. That's coming out in May, and it's coming out for worldwide and GCC. Tom, what do you have?
Well, there are a number of things, so I'm going to try to make this relatively quick. So Copilot lists and context IQ, we've mentioned this before, but you're able now to, when you're doing work with Copilot and things like that, you can use the context IQ menu to actually give it SharePoint lists to use in your prompt for grounding information. So much information is tied up in these lists. And to date, in order to get that information into a Copilot prompt has been really difficult. Now you can just say, use this list, and that's going to open up a wide number of prompts and questions that you can ask about your data that you've got. That's coming out in March, and it will be to the worldwide tenant. Also, if you have Viva Insights, you're now going to have the ability to have SharePoint agent analytics in Viva Insights. So this explores how your employees used key SharePoint agent features over a given time period and understands the return on investment. So this will be a nice update if you're still looking at what am I getting for my Copilot money. This will tell you how people are using it, and you can determine how to better get user adoption in certain areas and know exactly what's going on there. So that's coming out in March to the worldwide tenant. Code to which chat one-on-one with SharePoint agents in Teams. So users can chat one-on-one with a SharePoint agent directly from within Teams chat. I think that's great. It's like having little bots built in for you that you can ask questions of within a Teams chat and probably reference the chat information that's going on. That's something that's coming out in March, and it will be coming out to the worldwide tenant. Then we have Copilot Prompt Gallery. This one's kind of cool. Company-wide prompt publishing. So
Say that
organization,
again.
and I don't want to.
I don't think you can.
Organization, I probably can't. Organizations can build their own collections of prompts that are tailored to their business needs and workflows and distribute these to all users within the tenant. This is in March for all the things that have Copilot standard, worldwide tenant. But this is cool because to date you can say, oh, I've got this cool prompt, I can save it, and you have all the system generated ones. but you often don't have the ability to say, hey, the company has said this is a great prompt for you to use to get information about business XYZ. Now you're going to be able to put those out there into a prompt gallery and everybody's going to be able to get them instead of just passing them around one by one. Then we have actually that one we've seen before where users will be able to list the file attachments that they received or sent over email. So that's going to be really valuable. Then we have AI generated video drafts include text animations and new layout options. So users will find updated layout and text animations on video projects generated with Copilot. I still need to get more into using, images with Copilot. I'm more of a text person, so I haven't done really good stuff with that. I know Clipchamp has some changes coming out where you're going to be able to say, hey, here's my prompt. I need information about blah, blah, blah. Create me a short video that has all this information. And once that hits, I'm going to be just thrilled to death because
Oh my goodness.
put all kinds of training information out there. We have create SharePoint news posts from Copilot pages. So Copilot page is when you've asked about a prompt or something and it gives you this information like, a researcher thing or something that's like a 3-page document on something. Once they've given you that information, you've turned it into a Copilot page. You can then take it to a SharePoint news post with the press of SharePoint button under create. I think that'll be really nice to get stuff into a format that others can see and make it easier to publish in SharePoint News so that everybody then gets to see it based on where you post it at. That's going to be coming out in May to SharePoint and, of course, the worldwide tenant. Then we have take screenshot in Copilot, which is interesting. Give users a fast built-in way to capture screenshots and include them in Copilot prompts, helping them communicate visual content more easily and receive more accurate, actionable assistance. So that's coming out in March to the worldwide tenant. I'm wondering if this means when I do my, Spark 1 or 1 Minute Office Magic Tips, if I can supply it the screen prints and the basic gist of the thing and say, okay, put together a, 2-page post on this and use the images where they should go. If that can be done, I can put out a whole lot more training content on a regular basis, but we'll have to see how that one actually plays out. We have one more, and that's it. Copilot Teams improved copy and paste support for mentions and shared contacts. So Microsoft Teams preserves the app mentions and shared contacts when you copy and paste messages in chat and channels. So instead of just defaulting to plain text and you have to then go in and update everything yourself, Teams intelligently displays an app mention, a shared contact, or plain text based on where the content is pasted, reducing manual rework. I love that. I think that's going to be really cool. Instead of you having to go in and put a post in there with paste and then clean it up afterwards. This is coming out in April and it's coming out in Teams to the worldwide tenant. Anything else you want to touch on before we roll on to rolling out?
No.
Okay. In that case, then roll on to rolling out.
Fabulous. I did want to share one tip that Michael McNally from Planet Technology shared with me earlier today. And that is, it plays along with that copy and paste you were talking about.
Yeah.
If you want to, if you have copied something that is heavily formatted and you just want to paste it in plain text, if you do Control Shift V as in Victor, that will paste it in plain text.
Really?
Yes, it was eye-opening for me.
I think I've heard that and I think I promptly forgot it because that is cool.
That is really cool. All right, Microsoft Teams live meeting indicators for channels. Introducing a new indicator in channels to help users find meetings occurring live within the channel and join them. So this is not to be confused with a live event. Okay, this means the meeting is active within the channel because when you're setting up a channel meeting in Teams, unless you slide this little button that says send an invite to everybody, basically send personal calendar invite, nobody gets that channel meeting on their personal Outlook calendar. It only shows up in the channel, which then when you go back to try and find that meeting to join it, it can be a real hassle. So this I'm totally excited about. So either depend on this or slide that button on the channel field to send a personal invite to everybody. Then in Microsoft Teams, the people skills on the profile card is expanding to Teams. So access to people skills on the Microsoft 365 profile card is expanding to Microsoft Teams. With this update, employees will be able to view skills directly on the profile card in Teams, making it easier to learn about colleagues, build meaningful connections, and manage their own skills profile right from within their everyday workflow. Now, I got to tell you, we all work with that person who is not self aware and thinks they're an expert on everything. So I think just a skosh of moderation might be good for this one.
It's like Copilot. You're the human in the middle. You get to decide whether the person's hallucinating or not.
Yeah, you are the weakest link.
Goodbye.
So Microsoft Teams new control for quick views in the chat list. So positioned at the top of the chat and channels list, quick views gives users fast access to mentions, followed threads, and more. Users can choose when and how quick views are displayed, selecting always show, always hide, or show only when unread, and can collapse this section at any time. And that is rolling out to everybody. Everybody's getting that love worldwide, GCC, GCC High, and DoD. So that's rolling out in March. You should start seeing it in your tenant. Tom, I left you 3 great ones.
I'm
What
actually
do you
going
want to talk about?
Yeah, what do I want to talk about? Actually, I'm going to mention something on that last one there. It talks about the quick views, and users get access to mentions, followed threads, and more. One of the and more things that just recently came out, and I've done a 1 minute office magic, tip on this, is you now have a quick view that is drafts, and you have it in both conversations and or teams and in chats. And what that means is if you're a person, and admit it, you've done this, you are typing a message to somebody and you're just about ready to hit enter, or you've got it set to enter gives you a new line, and you go to hit the icon and all of a sudden squirrel happens. And you go to look at something else, and then you wonder why the person never answered you. How come they never got back to you? Why are they ignoring you?
You're getting a little angsted up.
Yeah, you are. It's like, come on, this was important. And you happen to wander back over that one thing and going, oh, I never hit send. This is bad. Yeah. Well, now this new quick view is drafts, and it will show you, and it's bold if it's being used, and they've got one, is if you've left any message unsent, it will basically show up in the drafts quick view. And you'll see like the center column has, here are the drafts. And when you click on whatever the draft is, it takes you over the right-hand column, which shows you all the context of that and the ability to go, oh, send me, and off it goes. I think that is one of the best features lately of Teams. And coupled with this one where you can say, hey, only show me these quick views when there's something unread in there, I think it makes it really nice because it cuts down that amount of space that's demanding attention. And you can just say, I'm only going to see it if there's something I need to pay attention to. So I'm loving that new feature in conjunction with this one that will allow you to say, and only show me when I need to do something. So that was one there.
And one of my customers pointed out that he discovered a new feature in their tenant. And I don't know if it's specific to their tenant or if it's specific to the organization, but I was joining a meeting, so I'm external to his tenant. And when the admit from the lobby showed up, it had a button that would allow him to chat with me and ask, "Who are you? Where are you from?" And so we could have a little tete-a-tete before being granted access to the meeting.
It's almost like being able to see, hey, this looks like a bot. Do I want to let it in?
Right. You got a peephole in the door for your
Right.
meeting.
That is cool.
So I'm just waiting for somebody to answer land shark.
Lance, oh God, you just aged us really badly
I
on that
know,
one,
I know.
dear.
I talked about Ghostbusters the other day. I said, don't cross the streams. It'd be very, very bad. And somebody's like, what?
What? Yeah.
I'm sorry, you weren't born yet.
Yeah, the first time I was quoting a line from Gilligan's Island to one of my coworkers on my team, and they just looked at me and it's like, Gilligan's what? Like, oh God, no, I
Well, they
can't be
went for
that
this
old yet.
3-hour cruise, and
Yes,
one of the ladies had
yes,
dresses for every
everything,
occasion.
you bet. So,
Yeah.
so the rest of the rolling out stuff, just one or two that I'll touch on here. We have Microsoft Teams audio recap language expansion. So if you've been using the audio recap feature to get updated on a particular meeting or something like that, it's now supporting 8 new languages rather than just like English and whatever they were doing before. It's now supporting Chinese and variations across English, French, German, Italian, Japanese,
Nice.
Portuguese, and Spanish. So you can use that to learn a new language too. Listen to all the recaps in a language you don't understand and see if you start to. So you've got that going on. That's coming or that's rolling out in this month to the worldwide Teams tenant. And then Microsoft Teams annotation on Teams single window sharing on Windows. So you've been able to do annotations when you share your screen so everybody can draw on the screen that you've got up there. I find it kind of wonky, but whatever. But the thing is, you had to be sharing your entire screen. You couldn't just say, oh, I'm only going to share the Teams window, or I'm only going to share the PowerPoint window. You had to share everything, and whatever you were going to annotate was going to be in that main screen. Now, what you can do is presenters can now share a single application window and enable participants to annotate directly on top of that without exposing their entire desktops. This means cleaner presentations, protected privacy, and more engaging discussions across the training session, workshops, and client meetings. So you don't have to answer why you've got pictures of your dog over on the side or stuff like that. And Tamara's going, why wouldn't you want to discuss why I have pictures of my dog there?
Yeah, I got some quality pictures.
There you go. March Teams Worldwide Tenant. And with that, we only have 2 things in launched and one is canceled. So why don't you go ahead and run with what you want to talk about in launched?
Okay.
Because you're going to take the one that we both highlighted, I know.
Yes.
And then I'll take canceled.
Well, there's also a purview.
As I said, there's one thing that both of us highlighted.
So SharePoint, modern SharePoint page templates. The modern SharePoint page template feature introduces a new template gallery. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm working in SharePoint pages since like 2007. And with the advent of Copilot and these flexible sections and the design suggestions, that's great and all. But you try to find the same design suggestion for another page on the same site and you can't find it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this new template gallery, providing users with a centralized hub to discover, preview, and select from over 50 out-of-the-box templates and custom templates. So this feature is going to empower users to create high-quality, on-brand pages effortlessly, enhancing productivity while ensuring consistency and visual appeal across SharePoint sites. Key highlights. The template gallery is a centralized hub to access both saved on this site custom templates and from Microsoft, the out of the box templates. The 50 plus new out of the box templates, it's a collect, and I want to know who wrote this because they need like a trophy. A collection of aesthetically pleasing, professional, and easy to use templates that empower users to quickly create visually engaging and consistent content for common use cases like status updates, event announcements, and team introductions.
Mama, I just got a thesaurus and I learned how to use it today.
Yep. But that's coming out to everybody. I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to lend page consistency across your site. You'll be able to easily save a page that you have worked on because sometimes using these templates, it's almost more work to get rid of stuff
Yeah.
than it is to add stuff to the page. So once you get it the way you like it, save it and it'll be in the custom templates.
And just because she said there was a purview one out there and you're going, why don't you talk about purview? Well, because our people are not out here that
Because we're
usually cover
allergic to
purview.
purview. Tom
But
and I are
purview,
allergic to purview.
data security investigations introducing new purge mitigation action. So if you have a new data security investigations thing going on, it's a new action. Purge is now available to help admins quickly and efficiently delete sensitive or overshared content during investigations within the product user interface. This edition works alongside DSI's, Data Security Investigations, AI-powered content analysis feature, such as categorizations, AI search, and examination for risk, which helps surface data security risks buried in time. Now, if we had either Adam or Matthew here, they could tell you why that means a whole lot to you. But you're stuck with the TamTom group here, and we'll just say, hey, it's launched in March and it's going to worldwide. Rock on, enjoy. And then the final one that we have is, and this is one we've talked about before. In fact, I think we talked about it last week. Hope we didn't get your hopes up about it because it's Microsoft Teams multiple phone number assignments to a single user on Teams phone devices. And while that sounded like a really good thing, this is what they're leading off with. We will release this feature at a later date and will provide an update soon. And of course, they always apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. So you are going to get it, just not right now, but they can't tell you when. So that's the only thing we haven't canceled. And that pretty much covers the roadmap. So hopefully next week, we will get healthy people back and you will get more than just Tamara and Tom, and you'll get people who understand and can talk about security and purview. So with that, everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your whatever day you're watching this, or evening if you're watching it later in the day. And we will be doing this again next week and covering the roadmap once again. Bye, everyone.
I know.